Hello, everyone.
Hey everybody, good to see you all. So today we want to speak a little bit about Optimil. Many of you are using Optimil in order to power your email marketing, and we want to show you how you can take it up a level. Optimil is much more than an email sending tool. It's a powerful platform that allows for real-time decision-making, dynamic personalization, and smart automation. Okay? So we'll show you today a few advanced tactics for higher impact. We'll show a real-life example of one of our clients that leverage real-time models to improve performance. And we'll finish with a template in the actual instance that brings together both personalization and automation. Now, sadly, in the next 20, 25 minutes, we most likely won't be able to go over all of your different Optimil features or use cases that you might have. So I implore each and every one of you to come right after the session to us or to the Optimove zone with the amazing team members we have so we can hear about your challenges and fit a solution that will fit your needs. So knowing our names might be useful. So my name is Tomer Ehrenheim. I'm here with the amazing Jonathan Inbar. We're both directors of the strategic services in Optimove, and we work with countless clients from different industries in order to maximize the impact of your CRM strategies.
Thank you, Tomer. So I want to start with something that is very obvious but necessary, right? And it's that personalization in CRM and specifically in email is no longer optional. Okay, it's something that we need. And it's like the difference between saying, hey, you, here's what we sent to everyone, and hey, Tomer, we know what you like, we know your interest. Here's something that we created specifically for you. Okay, and guess what? You know, it's personalized messages. After we did our own kind of like internal research, we saw that it's performed around 7 times better than the non-personalized messages that are being sent. And it's not any kind of magic or something like that. It's simply just doing CRM in a smarter way. Okay? And with tools like Optimil, we believe that we're not just sending emails to our customers. We are basically building relationships with them. And during this session, we're going to show you some cool features in our Optimil UI that allows you to do those personalizations. But before we dive into that, I want to show you some case study example. Okay? So I worked with a company called Terminal X. They are one of the largest fashion e-commerce companies in Israel. They have over, I think, like 50 different brands, Mango and Nike, and all the good stuff, basically. When they started with us, the way that they used to do their email sends, they basically send like a very big blast, right? We can call it. And it focused on all of their active audience, but also had just like maybe 1 or 2 brands that were inside the content, they were part of the content of the email. Okay? So like we see in this example on the screen. And I want to show you this example as how basically matching the content to the interest of the customer has so much impact, but from a different perspective, not from the content side, but from the segmentation side, from the audience side. Okay? We'll have enough of the content side later on in the session. So what we did, we checked basically the response rate, okay, the overall response rate first of these campaigns. We saw that to the entire audience, basically the responses on average was about 0.24%. I'm not going to dive into if it's like a good number or not. Every company has its own baseline. But this is what it was. Now, what happens, okay, and all of those Mango fans out there in the crowd, please don't kill me, is that reality is not all of the customers are interested in Mango in their emails, right? And if we dive deeper, okay, into the sub-segments of this audience, we see some interesting behavior on the engagement side. So We dive deeper into the favorite brand, which is basically just calculating, the purchase frequency per brand for each customer. The brand with the highest frequency is being chosen. And if we looked at the audience, that Mango, for this example, was their favorite brand, we saw that engagement was already 2.5 times higher than the baseline, right? Let's dive deeper. If you look at brand affinity, and I'll pause to explain for a second what it means. It's a little bit more sophisticated way to calculate or to quantify the interest of a customer. It's not just looking at purchases, it's looking at what he's doing on the web or on the app, what pages does he visit, search that he does on specific items that he added to cart but doesn't purchase, email links that he clicks for specific items, and so on. So combining all of it together allows us to get a score and a ranking for every brand. It can be on any type of hierarchy, product category, and stuff like that. So if we look at the audience that in their top 5 brand affinity ranks, Mango was there, we already see that we're reaching almost 5 times higher the response rate than the baseline. Okay, let's take it even further. If we look at only the top one, those that Mango is in their top 1 brand affinity rank, we're already crossing the 6 times higher engagement compared to the baseline. So basically, I think it's a very good visualization that shows us how matching content to customer interest reward us with very, very, very high engagement. Okay? So now we're going to basically see some real-world applications. I'll turn it back to Tom.
Great. So Jonathan just showed why personalization matters. But to be honest, I don't think it's a huge surprise, right? We know that personalization is important. The challenge is, how do we personalize at scale? That's the main problem. So that's exactly what we want to show in our email editor and the different template features that we're going to show now. One is different components for personalization. Secondly, a few other possibilities for efficiency's sake. We want, after all the hard work we put in our emails, ability to scale effortlessly. Jonathan will then show a few cool tricks on how you can play with naming conventions of images in order to create smarter templates. And I'll finish with a few dynamic mail components. Now, really quickly about dynamic mail. Dynamic mail is Optimove's add-on within Optimail that allows us to insert interactive, engaging components within the template itself. And not only that, also different components that allow us to update, show real-time information of our players based on the time they're opening the email. So it's ensuring that we're showing only the most relevant content there is. So we're very strong believers, and I'll start showing over the template, of the probability of our players or customers clicking on the email is the highest at the top of the email, and as they scroll down, it decreases usually. So we have the menu component at the very top, so we can put our most important links there. At the top left part, you'll notice we have a toggle to preview the email between mobile and desktop. That's another way for us to ensure the best experience for our players, no matter which device they're opening it from. You'll also notice we have a modular design in our email editor. It allows us to work on specific rows or elements within the template, and we can always save them as a custom row for future use in the other templates. So that connects a little bit to the efficiency that I spoke about before. And we also have content tags. So these are, again, specific elements within the template we can create, we can use in multiple templates. And what's great about the content tags is that any change we make in the actual tag, it will automatically update in all templates using it. Next up, you'll notice we have a conditional statement, this row of the if-else statement. This is basically Optimove's logic to showcase specific information within the template based on the player behavior, right? In our use case here, we have no casino experience. And it can connect to any data point you're sending to Optimove, if it's purchased an item or didn't purchase, whatever you prefer. You'll notice we have this neat image right? What's nice about this image, it was completely created using our image generator. You can see the option on the right. When you click on it, we have a prompt opening up. You can write whatever description you want, also a negative description of what you don't want to see or what to be generated. And you can generate the image immediately into your template. And I think this is a great feature when we want to tackle specific use cases that are very hard to envision or would require extensive Photoshop work, right? Our specific use case here was maybe a cross-sell campaign for sport players with a specific product preference of American football. We're trying to move them to playing some of our slot machine games. So we created using the image generator. If we're already speaking about AI capabilities, we'll notice that the main message of the template was fully created using our text generator as well. You can see here at the very right that we can write with AI. Again, opening it will show us a prompt that we can enter, and we can immediately paste that message within the template. And I think it's also a really good feature in getting the main tone and voice of what you're trying to achieve in this use case. Now, both of these features really connect to a lot of what Pini is mentioning about the positionless marketeer in the fact that we can create high-quality email templates, personalized, engaging, even if we don't have extensive Photoshop knowledge or content creating skills.
Thank you, Tomer. He showed us some pretty cool features. I want to focus on one of them specifically and basically share with you a very nice example of how we can use other very basic features like regular personalization tag to solve some more complex situations that we might face. So let me skip to a different template. Okay? And let's say that similar to the template that Tomer showed us before, we have this campaign that we want to send, but we need that the hero image will be different based on the favorite sport category of our customer. Now, some of you might have 20 or 30 different categories, and this means that if we'll create it with a pretty good but very kind of like tedious way of work with conditional blocks, we might find ourselves with a very, very long template that we need to edit. Something changes, we need to make specific change in the template. We'll find ourselves doing it like 20, 30 times. And I want to show you how we can, with some out-of-the-box thinking and a very basic feature, solve this and makes our life a little bit easier. So the solution that I want to propose is this. We have the exact same template, but with just one change, which is we don't have all of those blocks that we saw before. Instead, we have this one placeholder image, which I really use Google the placeholder image to put here. And what I did, all of the images that you saw before, the basketball, the hockey, whatever we had there, over there, I uploaded the same way that I uploaded them for the different template in our file manager. But what you'll notice is that I used a very specific naming convention for the images. So it's not that it's weird in any way, but it's basically matching the name of the image to the values that I have in my data points for that conditional tag that we saw that is called favorite sport category. So we have here horse racing, basketball, sport baseball. This might be a little bit weird, but this is the value that we have in the data. So we just matched it to our different categories, but as they are saved in our database. Okay? And what you will notice as well is that if I look at, you might not see it like this. If I look at the link, of the images, the whole path for every image is going to be the same kind of like main static path of the folder, the image library, and so on. And what basically differs is just the image name. So going back here, what basically we can do is have one placeholder image. It doesn't have to be this visualization. You can choose whatever you want, and then we can activate a feature called dynamic image. This allows me to put here either like a tag with a changing URL, or just a hybrid link that includes some dynamic elements, some static elements. So here I used basically the main static part that you saw of the images, and I included this tag of our sport type preference of our customers. And what will happen now, I'll click on preview. Every customer, let me just type one example. Every customer will basically see the hero based on his preferences. So this is like a customer ID that prefers basketball. This one prefers, I think, ice hockey, or horse racing. See, so instead of now, give me 1 second. Okay? Instead of now just using, a lot of conditional blocks, which might be useful for some use cases, that's true, but maybe for this specific thing, we prefer to use a maybe leaner version of a template, but with the same effect. Okay? You can use it with some out-of-the-box creativity and a very basic feature. Yeah, I heard a question. Sorry? So the question was, what are we doing with the landing page? Yeah? Okay, that's a good question. This was like a very good example for visual, like dynamic visualization. We can do a very similar thing with the link as well, right? It just might not be the same like dynamic tag that we'll use, but if you have also a very constant structure of how your links are created, we can create maybe a similar attribute in the database for the page itself, and then just use that as a tag as well. So we'll have one, like, let's call it an image tag and one CTA tag and so on. So possible to do it on different elements. Right? So this was kind of like our review of out-of-the-box stuff. Like Tomer said, we didn't cover all of it, but I'll let Tomer present also some of our external add-ons that can add a little bit more advanced capabilities to our templates.
All right, so thanks, Jonathan. So I promised a few dynamic mail components, and we can see a few of them at the very bottom. It's important to know that this add-on of dynamic mail, we have the option also as part of any other component or button within the email letter. We can always drag and drop it within our template that we're using. We can notice here that we have this dynamic element of scratch to reveal, just another interactive way of getting our player to click on our email and hopefully clicking again to go to the correct landing page. If we'll scroll a little bit more downwards, we'll notice a dynamic CTA, another engaging component. And the final component you'll see at the bottom is the geolocation component. This allows us to show to our player or customer nearby stores, nearby casinos, that again is correct by the time they're opening the email. And everything here they'll see on their phone or desktop that they're using. I think we need to jump to the presentation back.
Yeah.
Take the clicker.
There you go.
Great. So we spoke about Optimove feature, we spoke about dynamic mail components, and the last thing I wanted to show you is how we can personalize the email experience even more using OptiX. Really quickly about OptiX. OptiX is Optimove digital experience platform, allows us to tap into rich customer data and also real-time machine learning models, And both of them together, we're able to show this dynamic, personalized content to our player base across multiple marketing channels. So we're going to look at a use case today of bwin. bwin, one of our clients, wanted to leverage OptiX in order to achieve what I just mentioned. And they wanted to show different games that they'll be able to show to their customer base based on a model and the customer data that they have. So first step, we chose a specific model that will work best for that use case. And you can see just a few of them running here. And secondly, after we chose a model, we implemented a smart banner within their template in order to show and offer specific games for their players. Now, why is this a game changer? Why am I showing you this? Well, there's a few reasons. The first one, it's very advanced yet accessible, right? We're able to tap into this world of machine learning models, even if we don't have in-house data teams to create them. Secondly is the richness of the models. We have multiple models to choose from that will work best on every type of use case we have. We want a model that will show games based on other players similar to our own player that we're targeting in the same geolocation. We can do that. If we want to maybe share different games that might convert our players based on the time of send, we can also do that. And lastly is the operational simplicity. The moment we implement these models and let them run as a campaign, there is no more work, no more manual work or constant reconfiguration. Right? So this was very successful also for the bwin team, creating a much more engaging campaign and also decreased a lot of the workload from their marketing teams.
Cool. All right. It's been a bit quick, but we're almost at the end. And I started with something, I want to finish with kind of like the same statement. Okay? We've seen that personalization is no longer something that we can call a luxury, it's really a necessity. And when we align content with customers' interests, like we saw in the Terminal X example in the beginning, we don't really just engage with our audience, right? We're able to captivate them. And with today's tools, personalization is really easier than ever. Okay, it's allow us to craft messages that feels tailor-made and delivered in just the right time. And specifically with Optimale, okay, you're not just improving the engagement of your customers, you're making marketing smarter, more efficient, and more impactful. Okay, so as you go forward, I want you to think about this. What's the one step that you can take today from this session to make your customer interactions more personal, more relevant, and more effective? Okay? So we want to thank you all for your time sitting here listening to us, and we wish you all to create some truly engaging experiences with your customers. If some of you have any questions to us, you can find us outside or our colleagues at the Optimale booth. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And thank you very much. Yeah.